Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is the CRC portrait, A Rosicrucian Problem by Manly P. Hall. An article taken from The All-Seeing Eye, Volume 5, Number 1, October 1930. The CRC portrait, A Rosicrucian Problem by Manly P. Hall. For several years, we have been investigating the secret societies of the ancient and medieval worlds. These organizations may be divided into three general classes: political, philosophical, and religious. During the last 3 centuries, a fourth type of secret order has appeared, namely the fraternal. All secret societies were originally priestly institutions created to perpetuate the mystery religion which had been revealed to the first of humanity by the gods. Knowledge is power, declares the Egyptian, but knowledge in the possession of such as have not yet mastered the animal soul is dangerous. The mystery schools were created in order that divine wisdom should neither perish from the earth nor yet fall into the hands of the profane. The great truths discovered by the illumined were therefore carefully concealed under abstruse symbols and allegories, and a man desiring to know them was compelled to pass through a number of tests to prove that he was entitled to this honor. Christianity, like all the wisdom religions, is a threefold structure consisting of a spirit, a soul, and a body. Ante-Nicene Christianity was a school of the mysteries and as such promulgated a secret teaching concerning which the modern church knows practically nothing. The first Christian mystics were the Gnostics, but nothing now remains of their cult except a few inscribed gems and an occasional literary fragment mutilated almost beyond recognition. The Middle Ages found Europe struggling to free herself from the limitations of religious intolerance, philosophic despotism, and scientific ignorance. The doctrines promulgated by Galen, Avicenna, and Aristotle held the minds of the learned in intellectual bondage. It was against this bigotry that the great Paracelsus directed his hammer blows, liberating the medical profession from the dogmas of Avicenna. Centuries after him came Sir Francis Bacon, who with the sheer transcendency of his genius brought down Samson-like the pillars of Galen and Aristotle, and with their fall the house of arbitrary notions collapsed. We shall probably never fully appreciate the part played by the Rosicrucians in the reconstruction periods of European thought. The Rosicrucians constitute the most remarkable organization of the modern world. During the 17th century, their name was upon every man's lips, but none knew who or what they were. In their manifestos, published between 1610 and 1620, the Rosicrucians declare that their purpose was to promulgate the secret teachings which they had received from their illustrious founder, Father CRC, Christian Rosicrucian, and to heal the sick without pay. They were deeply concerned with alchemy and astrology, and their ranks included several great Kabbalists and transcendental magicians. Elias Ashmole, one of the order, declares that 2 Rosicrucian physicians cured Queen Elizabeth of smallpox and a young Duke of leprosy. There are also records that the Rosicrucian chemists manufactured gold and furnished it to the British Mint. Raymond Lully, probably a member of the fraternity, is said to have transmuted thousands of pounds of base metals into gold in the Tower of London. Lully did this in order that the English might finance a crusade against the Mohammedans. After describing the purposes of their organization, the Rosicrucians in their first manifestos recount the adventures of their leader and how he came to establish the society. The story is briefly as follows. Father CRC was the son of poor but noble parents and was placed in a cloister when but 5 years of age. But several years later, finding the instructions unsatisfactory, he associated himself with a monk who was about to start on a pilgrimage for the Holy Land. This brother died at Cyprus, and CRC continued alone to Damascus. Here poor health detained him, and he remained some time studying with the physicians and astrologers. Hearing by chance of a group of wise men abiding in Damcar, a mysterious city in Arabia, Current made arrangements to visit them, and arrived in Damcar in the 16th year of his life. Here he was received by the wise men as one long expected, and remained with them for a considerable time, during which he learned the Arabian tongue and translated the mysterious book M into Latin. From Damcar, CRC journeyed to Fez, where he was instructed concerning the creatures existing in the elements. From Fez, the young initiate took boat to Spain, carrying with him many rare medicines, curious animals, and wonderful books. He conferred with the learned at Madrid, but they dared not accept his teaching because it would reveal their previous ignorance. So, deeply discouraged, he went to Germany, where he built himself a house on the brow of a little hill and devoted his life to study and experimentation. After a silence of 5 years, CRC gathered about him a few faithful friends, and they began to arrange and classify the great knowledge which he possessed. Thus, the Rosicrucian fraternity was founded. New members were later accepted, and the brethren traveled into various parts of the world to give their knowledge to those who were worthy and willing to receive such a boon. The first of the order to die passed out in England, and it was after this that Father CRC prepared his own tomb in perfect miniature reproduction of the universe. None of the order knew when their founder passed on, but 120 years after his death, they discovered his tomb with an ever-burning lamp suspended from the ceiling. The room had 7 sides, and in the center of it was a circular stone, under which they found the body of their founder in perfect condition, clasping in one hand a mysterious paper containing the arcana of the order. Many efforts have been made to interpret the symbolism of this allegory, for it is undoubtedly a myth symbolically setting forth the deepest secrets of the Rosicrucians. Father CRC is to be considered not only as a personality, but also as the personification of a power or principle in nature. This practice of using an individual to set forth the workings of divine power was frequently resorted to by the ancients. The Masonic legend of Hiram Abiff, the Chaldean myth of Ishtar, the Greek allegory of Bacchus, and the Egyptian account of Osiris are all examples of this type of symbolism. It is not improbable that the entire mystery of Rosicrucianism could be cleared up if the story of Father CRC were properly interpreted. During the 16th century, many pseudo-organizations sprang up claiming to represent the Rosicrucian Brotherhood, but the very nature of the teachings they promulgated proved beyond all doubt that they were fraudulent. One of these groups, after exacting the most terrible oaths from those joining the society, gave each one of the new members a black rope with which he was supposed to strangle himself if he broke any of the laws of the order. The pseudo-Rosicrucians were short-lived, for after passing through all the degrees of the elaborate rituals and spending considerable sums of money, the unfortunate initiates discovered that these organizations did not possess the knowledge they claimed to disseminate. Many false claims were made by charlatans who attempted to capitalize the name of Rosicrucianism, but in some mysterious way these dishonest parties were exposed and their plans came to naught. Several years ago, Arthur Edward Waite, an English Masonic writer of note, published a work in 2 volumes entitled The Secret Tradition in Freemasonry. Among a large number of plates he reproduced was one he declared to be the supposed portrait of Father CRC. We examined the reproduction with great interest, but with a certain amount of skepticism, in view of the vast number of false claims and documents that have appeared in recent years. We had a feeling that somewhere we had seen that picture before, and the general appearance of it made us suspect that it was a copy of a more ancient painting. At last, after considerable pains, we discovered what we believed to be the original of the picture. In the Lisbon Museum, there is a famous painting by Albert Dürer. The resemblance to Waite's picture is very marked. The position of the head, the finger touching the temple of the skull, the hat, the reading table, the beard, and the folds of the cloak are all nearly identical. The reader may say that Dürer copied the painting from the supposed portrait of Father CRC, but this is most unlikely, as Dürer was a truly great artist, and great artists seldom copy the paintings of other men. Furthermore, the Dürer painting was made about AD 1500 and is apparently much older than the other picture. The Dürer painting is an idealistic conception of Saint Jerome, and Dürer has in several other pictures shown this saint with the same reading table, and a skull is all placed near him. In the Harding collection in Chicago is also a portrait of St. Jerome by the Master of the Life of the Virgin, which resembles the CRC. Picture even more closely. The only natural presumption is that the picture supposed to be that of Father CRC is in reality a copy of St. Jerome, and not an overly good copy, that Mr. Waite was careful to make no committal regarding the authenticity of the painting, but others more enthusiastic have accepted the picture as real. This is an occurrence which should deter any person not acquainted with the real issues of Rosicrucianism, from accepting the wholesale accounts now circulated concerning the historicity of the order. The bona fide Rosicrucians are an organization of initiates and adepts, and only through development of the internal spiritual faculties can the true purpose of the order be recognized. Only when the disciple lives the Rosicrucian life can he know that sublime fraternity whose members, so the ancients declare, inhabit the suburbs of heaven. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.